Hi friends, this is Ronald. The last video we discussed about DNS theory, like what is DNS, primary DNS, secondary DNS. In this video, I'll show you how to install and configure DNS. Before that, we'll see the requirements for installing and configuring DNS and the steps for completing the lab also. Installing and configuration of primary DNS. What do you need the steps for that, for completing this task? Number one, configure IP address and primary DNS IP address. Meaning that you need to configure a IP address to system plus you need to mention the primary DNS server IP address. Which server is configured as a primary DNS server? As of now, we are going to install a new DNS server and we're going to configure the IP address for that new DNS server. Second is install DNS server. Number 3 is configure forward lookup zone. Number 4, configure reverse lookup zone. Number 5, configure domain name in computer settings. Then restart the system. Let me draw a diagram for you to understand and get a clear picture about DNS server, primary DNS and secondary DNS. Let me draw a diagram for you. This is one server, it's another server. Let's take two clients as well. This is switch. Server is Windows 2012 server. We are going to make this as primary DNS, and this one Windows 2012 server secondary DNS. These two are clients. This is PC1. This is PC2. This is a switch 1. So this system IP is 192.168.100.1, and this system is 192.168.100.2 to 168.100.3. This one is 192.168.100.4, and the domain name is, so for example, let me give like tech.com. Any name you can mention. Tech.com I'm giving here. Let me connect these systems. Alright. Now this system is primary DNS server. First thing is we have to install 2012 server. Afterwards configure the IP address. Done. Next is you have to configure primary DNS. So as I said, this is our primary DNS server. That means in this primary DNS option of IP address, you need to mention which system is DNS server. So in this case, primary DNS server is 100.1. 100.1. So I'm mentioning primary DNS IP is 100.1 and secondary DNS. This is for all systems in your network. There will be only one primary, but multiple secondaries you can have. This is 100.2. Similarly for secondary also. Primary DNS remains same, 100.1. Secondary DNS 100.2. Here also primary DNS for the clients 100.1. For secondary DNS to configure 100.2. Now whatever information is available is computer name and IP address will stored in DNS. Here it will come as a record PC1, PC2, 3 likewise. IP addresses 100.3, 100.4. So all the computer names and IP address information now is going to store in DNS server. Secondary is load balancing purpose. Fault tolerance. If something goes wrong with this primary DNS server, then secondary will look after all the clients. Because client already we configured secondary DNS server. If clients unable to contact to primary DNS server, they will change the direction towards secondary DNS server. So this is how the load balance will maintain. And once the primary server goes down, secondary still it is a read only DNS server. You have to change this from read DNS server to write DNS server. That is from secondary to primary you have to change, and you can change this one. I'll be showing you this one in the next video, like how to configure primary DNS server and how to configure secondary DNS server, how to change from primary to secondary DNS server, how to change from secondary to primary DNS server, load balancing, how to implement. So all this we'll be seeing in the future sessions. So this is what you have to do in the practical session. Take 2 servers, 1 client is enough. Let's move to the slides now. Similarly, for secondary DNS server to install, same steps: configure IP address, primary DNS IP address, secondary DNS IP address. Then install DNS, configure forward lookup zone, reverse lookup zone. 6th point is important here. Transfer the zones from primary DNS server to secondary DNS server. Unless you transfer the zones from primary to secondary, all the records, all the information will not transfer to secondary. You have to do it manually from primary to secondary. So I'll be showing this practically, how to do all this. Alright, so in the next video, I'll be showing you how to install DNS server and how to configure primary DNS server and secondary DNS server. So in this video, we discussed about the requirements for installing and configuration of DNS server. Thanks for watching.